Hello and welcome to week 35 of the Country Garden Crochet Along, and this week we're going to be making our butterflies. These can be a little bit fiddly, but they're a fairly easy repeat pattern, and we won't be weaving in the ends. We're going to leave those for another time. So how do we make them? So for the start of this week we're going to be joining into our corner stitch, and you want to be working you're starting off on the long side. So I'm starting off above the mini basket weave stitch, and this is my long edge. Okay, so using the same colour as last week, we're going to join into that second corner stitch. So I'm just going to join with a chain one, and in that same stitch I'm going to make a single crochet. Right then, so I'm now going to make another 25 single crochet. So including that first one, we'll have 26 in total. 3, 4, 5. So this is going to take us to where we're going to start our first butterfly. Now your butterflies for this row, you're just going to be making with whatever colours you've got left over. Okay, so I'm just using whatever colours I happen to pull out that I've got left for this project. So it is just a completely random colour combination, but I will put in the written pattern and below this video how many butterflies I've made with each colour anyway, just so you can see. But it's entirely up to you, because after this butterfly round the only two colours we have left to use are the two blues. So you just need enough of the dark blue for one more round, and then we'll have two more rounds of this light blue after this round. How many have I done so far? 10, 11, 12, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 and 26. I'm going to start, but I'm not going to finish. So this is single crochet 26. I'm going to leave the last two loops on my hook, and I'm going to change colour. So I'm just going to grab my other yarn. Oops, jump here. There we go. So I'm just grabbing the red, and I pull that through the last two loops. And I'm just going to quickly chain one. I'll just get everything secured. Okay. So drop the blue, and we're just going to use the red for a second. So I just chained one, and I'm going to chain another 3. So you can have a chain 4 in total. And now we're going to work around the double crochet right beneath the stitch you just made. So here's the stitch we started, and we're going to work around the post of this double crochet in the row below. Okay, so our first stitch is going to be a treble crochet. So I'm just going to make a treble, and then 2 more trebles around that stitch as well. So we'll have 3 trebles all made around the post of the same double crochet. There we go. And then chain 4. And then slip stitch around the post. Okay, so that's the top wing of our butterfly. Now we need to make the bottom one. So we're going to chain 4 again. 2, 3, 4. And then still working around that same double crochet, you're going to make another treble
and then a double. Okay, all around the same post. So there's a double crochet. Then we're going to chain 3, and then still around that same post you're going to make a slip stitch. And that's the first half of your butterfly. So now we're going to move to the next post around here. So you might find it easier just to turn your work so it's facing you a bit easier. And now we're going to do the same but backwards. So after we've done that final slip stitch, we're now going to start work on the next post across. Okay, so we've been working on the side of one post of 1 double crochet, and now we're going to move to the next double crochet. So I'm just going to shift it around like this to make it easier to work into. Okay, so now we're essentially going to go backwards. So it's the same pattern as we've just done, but in reverse. Okay, so after our slip stitch we chain 3. And then around the post of the next double crochet we're going to make a double crochet. And then we'll make a treble around the same post. Okay, then chain 4, and then around the same post make a slip stitch. After your slip stitch, chain 4 again, and then you're going to make 3 treble crochet, still working around that same post. 1, 2, and 3. Then you're going to chain 4 and slip stitch back around that same post. Straighten this out again. And there is your butterfly. And it's just worked around 2 double crochet posts. Okay, so now I'm going to drop the red, and you can actually cut off this now, as I'll be using a different colour next time. And I'm just going to pull my blue through that red just to secure it back on. Okay, and right, just get my bearings. So we now need to work a double crochet into the post we just finished working around. So I go around the back, so you've got 2 loops here that haven't been worked into, and you're going to make, if I got my yarn on the right side, you're going to make a single crochet into there and drop the red. Then make a single crochet in the next stitch. So after that butterfly, that's 2 single crochet, and I'm going to make a total of 21 single crochet before we make the next butterfly. So just make 2, 3 and 4. So I'm just going to go ahead and make my 21, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to make the butterfly one more time. 21 single crochet, and I've got the last 2 loops of single crochet 21 on my hook. Okay, and now I'm going to join the colour for my next butterfly. Okay, so what I didn't say before was you need to keep a decent tail length on these. So when you cut off and start, you want a good length tail, as you'll be using these to sew the wings of your butterfly flat against your blanket later. Okay, so we're going to make another butterfly. Hang on, my blanket's dragging down. Come on, here we go. Right, so how do we make the butterfly again? So you've joined on your next colour and you're going to chain 4. 2, 3, 4. Now working into the post of the double crochet below where you've just joined, you're going to make 3 treble crochet around the post. 1, 'No, that's a double. Let's try that again. Treble crochet, not double. 3 treble crochet around the post. So second treble and the third treble. And then chain 4. And then still working around the same post, you're going to make a slip stitch. And then chain 4. Make 1 more treble. And then a double. All around the same post. So once you've made your double crochet, you're going to chain 3 and then slip stitch around that same post. And there's the first half of your butterfly. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next post here. I'm just going to move things around to make it slightly easier for me. Okay, and it's the same pattern but backwards. So now we chain 3. And around that second post we're going to make a double crochet. Then make a treble, chain 4, and around the same post make a slip stitch. There's the bottom wing there. Okay, so after your slip stitch, chain 4. And then make 3 treble crochet still around that same post. 1, 2, and 3. So after your third treble, chain 4. And finally slip stitch around that same post. And there you go. Another butterfly. Okay, so now I'm going to cut off the lilac, leave a decent sized tail for weaving in later. And then okay, so this week is a nice easy week, and we're essentially repeating week 34 as we're going to do 2 rounds of double crochet. Okay, so to begin we're going to make a chain 1 and then we're going to make a double crochet chain into the same stitch that you slip stitched into last week. Okay, so that's yeah, so the slip stitch we stitched into last week was the first stitch of last week's, which went into that second corner stitch. Okay, so all we're going to do is make a double crochet in every stitch around, making 2 double crochet in your second corner stitches. And that is it really for this week. The only thing you have to be careful of is when you get to your butterflies and making sure you've got the right number of stitches. Okay, so just be careful checking where your stitches are and that you're not going into a slip stitch or a join. So it's a bit of a state, but between each butterfly wing you're going to have 2 double crochet. So just make sure you're going into those 2 stitches, one here, one here. Okay, and then it's every other stitch up should be fine. There's just a few too many joins back there. But don't get too bogged down with your stitch count. As long as your blanket sits flat, then don't worry about it, as from here on in your stitch count isn't that important. It's just whether your blanket sits flat. So I wouldn't stress too much about an extra stitch sneaking in or losing a stitch, as we're just doing like single count stitches. There's no counts involved from here on in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that and finish this round. So just a double crochet in every stitch, making 2 double crochet in the second corner stitch. I shall go ahead and finish that, and I shall see you when I get back to the beginning of the round. Okay, so I got back round to the beginning, and my final double crochet is going to be in the same stitch that we started in. Right in there. And then you're just going to slip stitch into that first stitch. Okay, so now we're going to do another round, and we're going to repeat this round. So we're just going to do another round of double crochet in every stitch. Okay, so start with a chain 1 and your double crochet chain. Oops. And then just double crochet in every stitch around. When you reach the corners, you're going to make 2 double crochet in the second corner stitch, but otherwise it's just 1 double crochet in every stitch again. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this round, and I shall come back when I come back to the beginning. Okay, so I've got back to the beginning of the round, and my last stitch is going to be made into the same stitch as my starting chain. And I'll just do a last double crochet in there, and then slip stitch into my first stitch. So the last stitch creates the 2 double crochet in 1 stitch. And that is it for this week. So we're not going to weave in our butterfly ends this week. We're going to save that for next week. So we've still got all those ends to weave in. But next week is our final week, and we'll complete the final round just to edge it all off and weave in our ends to complete everything. So bye for now, and I shall see you next week.